North Antrim coast is among our greatest natural treasures, with ocean views that are famous and fabulous. So come with me for a truly spectacular walk off the beaten track. It's a must-see destination, but there's so much more to the celebrated coastline than first meets the eye. Beside the renowned icons, there are other jewels in the landscape, forgotten gems that are all the more precious for being tucked away off the beaten track. Come with me and discover a mountain of mist and magic with the Kilrea woman who climbed Everest. We'll dip in and out of the Causeway Coastway with ramblers who'll reveal glimpses of a hidden past. And I'll take a personal journey along wild and wonderful Fairhead. I'll give you our website address later, but first, I'm off to explore a summit that dominates the skyline beyond Limavady. Binevenagh Mountain is a great slab of ancient basalt and the favourite training ground of one of Ireland's best known adventurers, Hannah Shields. The water from this holy well is said to cure every ill. Maybe tired legs, Hannah?
You're not going to be needing that today.
Let's hope not. I'm leaving the holy well at St Aidan's Church in the company of a rare and inspirational character who loves going to extremes. Hannah Shields made it to the top of Mount Everest in 2007, an epic achievement in itself, but she's also survived frostbite and polar bear attack, pushing herself beyond endurance to the North Pole.
For so many years, I was an armchair adventurer. I read every single book about North Pole, South Pole, Everest, the mountains. And to me, that was always superhuman people did that. And I sometimes have to keep pinching myself and kind of go, it's me. You know, you're actually out there doing these things.
We're walking a route Hannah usually runs. From the church car park off the Limavady to Castle Rock Road, the forest track is a sharp climb up to the foot of the mountain and on to the distinctive rocky pinnacles under the cliffs. Then it's back down along the trail below the crag, up through another forest and onto the summit ridge and the amazing lookout beside Binevenagh Lake.
There we go.
Hannah, I'm a rambler and you're a runner, and I'll go up here a footstep at a time, taking it all in. But that's not your approach, yours not?
Well, sometimes whenever my training sessions, I call it eyeballs out, running up here as fast as I possibly can. But today it's going to be an absolute pleasure just to be out walking and seeing things that I don't normally see, actually.
I know, but the eyeballs out thing, that's a great expression. Is that how you live life?
No, not all the time, I have to admit, not all the time. But it's. I think if you're going to do it, and some of the training, you have to do it as hard and fast as you possibly can. And that's what's required with some of the things I need to do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
A lovely place to come and train.
It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
This is the great thing about a walk, Hannah. You can hear the birds singing in the trees. You can't do that if you're in a car or on a bicycle. Sure, you can't.
And some days full of the joys of spring today. Good Lord, in October.
Out of season. And this is a really special place for you, isn't it?
Oh, I love it.
From deep inside the forest, there's no clue to the surprise that's waiting up ahead. That is just awesome. You know, don't let anybody ever say that we don't have spectacular and exotic scenery. Hannah, that is gorgeous.
Oh, it's one of my favourite places. It really is, and I never, ever tire of it. I'm up here every single week and it's never the same every single time. It's stunning, it's just stunning.
I know, and you've got the intimacy of the walk through the forest, and then you reach something like this timeless landscape. The sun's hanging there, it looks like the moon through the cloud.
Well, actually, we're very lucky because normally you don't see that. So we've been blessed today. But normally there is a fantastic mist that hangs on that. And I just find it a stunning place. Absolutely stunning. And it sounds cliched, but it is.
As the early morning mist fades, there's an awakening sense of that ephemeral beauty. Binevenagh is a place apart.
To actually be outside in the middle of all of this, I think it's an awe-inspiring place. It's my outside gym. It's where I come to do all my hard work before I go away on a lot of my expeditions. And it's because I'm outside, getting the fresh air, it means so much to me. I am asthmatic and that it is something that I have to be conscious of. But it's not going to be something that's going to define me. It's something that I'll work with.
That single-minded determination took her to the summit of Everest in 2007, having almost done it 4 years earlier.
I was back to finish what I hadn't done in 2003, and that's purely what I was there for, 100 vertical metres. It was a lot to do for 100 vertical metres, but I was just relieved because, to be honest, my right contact lens had frozen to my eye for about an hour and a half beforehand, so I was just kind of practicalities. I'm here, I've done it, great, get back down safely again. I unfortunately had a lot of trouble with my lungs on the way down. I had a couple of wee asthma attacks, and so I had to be taken off the mountain fairly quickly. I did have a lot of edema in my lungs. It just got filled with fluids and I couldn't really breathe. So unfortunately I'm still suffering a wee bit of consequences of that from then. But it's not going to stop me from getting out and continuing to training around here. Whenever I was going for summit this time, there was a man that died in the guy ropes in my tent, and there was absolutely nothing I could do for him. It's very sobering. I was looking at him going, that's not going to happen to me. And that's all that you can do. It still wasn't going to stop me from going for summit. Absolutely no way was it stopping me.
She is unstoppable. Hannah makes her living as a dentist.
Woohoo!
But she lives for life on the edge, and that enthusiasm is infectious. Summit fever. So too is the rush you'll feel up here. There's never a dull moment high on Binevenagh, or higher still in the Arctic.
Every time I've been there, I've always had polar bear encounters, and we now think it's due to my perfume. So I've been banned in the next couple of expeditions where there's polar bears, no more perfume.
And how close were you on the closest?
2 metres. 2 metres. It was just about to make an attack on two of the fellas that I came out of the tent, and in my best Northern Ireland accent I went, "Polar bear!" And unfortunately this polar bear, I think I shocked him because he turned around and whittled himself and ran away from me. So
Are you serious?
I'm now the ultimate deterrent for polar bears, according to all my lads that I do all the training with.
And there's more adventure ahead. Along a sheep track running parallel with the base of the cliffs. A gentle walk before another climb through a pine forest onto the cliff. Back into the autumn sunshine. Hannah's also an international cross-country runner, but thankfully you don't have to be an athlete to appreciate a scenic stroll through the woods.
This is why I come up here.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that just the loveliest, gentlest countryside sweeping below us?
It's away from everything, away from your worries. You can lose yourself in it. You got that sense of euphoria for coming out and actually doing something physically by yourself on your own 2 feet. And then you have to admit, I do get a wee endorphin kick whenever after working hard. It's very satisfying.
Ah, there's an enormous feel-good factor, and that's why, you know, you really should try this. It's great.
Definitely to be recommended. Even the cows agree.
There is a road all the way up here. Travel by car and you may see the view but miss the point. It's the journey that really matters in the end. It's been an idyllic day, spent in exceptional company and in unrivaled surroundings. We're way off the beaten track.
I love whenever I come up here that there's nobody around, and it is that splendid isolation that you really do feel that you're getting away from it all. But then at the same time, I think that I shouldn't be selfish, and this should be opened up to other people to appreciate and know that it's there and that it is accessible.
The North Coast is hiking heaven. From corn-coloured beaches to limestone cliffs and beyond, there are loads of routes to suit all ages and abilities, and I'm up for a stroll beside the sea. It's the perfect introduction to rambling for beginners. The trail starts at Dunseverick Castle and winds back along the shore. The path is easy to follow and weaves through ancient raised beaches and spectacular sea stacks, all the way to picturesque Port Braddon. My walking partner knows this coast like the back of his hand. That's a great day to blow the cobwebs away, isn't it?
Isn't it? When you get the wind coming in from the north coast, you really have something.
Retired teacher Ronnie Irvine is a lucky man, free to roam his favourite coastline at leisure and always aware of the bigger picture.
I've always been interested in nature. I do a lot of photography. So it's not just about walking, it's about what you see when you're walking. And it's all about seeing things.
And you won't be disappointed here. Dunseverick Castle is a crumbling vision of the past.
I was just astonished to learn that this is one of the oldest forts in all of Ireland.
It certainly goes back to St. Patrick and as a castle of some kind, and probably goes back far beyond that as a promontory fort.
It's now a lonely sentinel, a romantic ruin, with connections to the High Kings of Ireland.
One of the ancient roads from Tara, of course, led to here, which means it must have been very, very important.
All trace of those ancient travellers has been washed away. Something to ponder as we walk the shoreline, drinking in the sights and sounds of the sea.
What a spectacular place to have right on our doorstep.
Isn't it? The best coastal walk in the British Isles.
Ronnie, I would say it was world class.
It is world class.
You know, and you see it on a day like today with the waves crashing in, the sound of it, and just the vision in front of us.
Yeah, Dunseverick Harbour, White Park Bay beyond.
Sheep Island and Rathlin.
Yes, quite something.
You don't need picture postcard weather to enjoy a walk. Every day is different, and change is a fact of life.
Dunseverick Harbour is absolutely deserted today.
Yeah, pretty sleepy today, but it hasn't always been like that. I've seen photographs of people embarking on small ships, probably to go to Glasgow or Derry, and from there, America. Immigrating.
I know, when you look at this place now, you can't just imagine that, but by the same token, this was an important fishing port at one time.
Change times.
Aye.
When you're in a car, you get angry, you get tense. When you're walking, you get relaxed and you get easy, and you go home relaxed and easy. Time stops. You can spend the day walking quite hard, and you look at your watch a couple of times, and you wonder where the day went. It's probably the most natural thing for a human being to do, is to use his 2 feet and walk.
The elemental power of the ocean has relentlessly shaped the shore, leaving telltale signs along the way.
Oh, I see. There's a beautiful archway up ahead of us.
Yes, a real present with a beautiful view of White Park Bay beyond it.
Oh, that is just...
Isn't it?
Impressive.
Absolutely. That arch was probably, well, it was carved out maybe 10,000 years ago, just after the Ice Age.
A great gateway into White Park Bay.
It is
Oh my
indeed.
God.
Passing through the eye of a cliff is well worth the trip, but it's only one highlight among many.
There's such a lovely pearlescent quality in the sky now, isn't there?
Isn't there?
Bright.
Yeah, beautiful. White Park Bay always has that sort of shimmer of a haze over it. I think it's the waves throw up maybe a little bit of spray, and you can just see it across there.
Yeah, you can indeed.
There is everything in this walk, and it's not particularly difficult. Anyone could do it, or certainly do a stretch of it.
And here we are, Ronnie.
Yep, Port Braddon,
The port of the salmon.
the port of the salmon. No salmon fished for now.
In the crash of the waves and the fresh air, it's a good way to work up an appetite.
At the height of summer, the north coast draws hundreds of thousands of tourists. Port Braddon is a colourful stopping point, but so too is White Park Bay next door. And for those prepared to walk it, the Causeway Coastway has over 30 miles of stunning rambling to offer. Ballintoy is another great place to start, where Sheep Island keeps vigil outside the harbour. It's only a 2-mile dander from there to the world-famous Carrick-a-Reed rope bridge, in sight of our final walking destination, Fairhead. The route over the cliff top is simply unbeatable. We're starting from the car park at Marconi's Cottage, just outside Ballycastle, and following the coast all the way to the base of the cliffs. Then it's a steep but short climb onto the crag, where the walking is just incredible, all the way to the ghostly Grey Man's Path. I'll tackle the cliff walk by myself, but I'm sharing this part of the journey with a man who fell in love with it over half a century ago.
Bit mucky underfoot today with all that rain.
Yeah, well, it's going to get worse.
Philip Watson's had a lifelong passion for this coast. From birdwatching to guiding walking groups and writing books about it, he knows the secrets of these shores.
The whole north coast is very special. It's not just physically special. I mean, Fairhead, I suppose, takes the biscuit for awesome scenery, but all around this coast, it's cliffs and just a diversity from Ballycastle right across to McGilligan. This is a really magical place. It certainly got its hooks into me early, and I'm still beavering about here, and hopefully will be for a while yet.
This structure.
Ballyvoy Pier is a milestone along the way. a battered reminder of a time when Ballycastle was a hive of industrial activity, when miners worked the coal seams all along this shore.
It was known as the iron stage, landing stage for ships. It was built by a Scottish firm about 1860 so that locally mined coal and iron ore could be taken out by boat. So whether the iron stage name comes from the iron ore going out or the fact that there were big iron stanchions taking a jetty right out onto the rocks into the sea.
Fairhead saw the miners come and go, an impressive symbol of permanence in a changing world. Mother Nature has reclaimed the land, erasing all signs of an industrial age. Well, almost.
I mean, look at this. This is a coal spoil heap. I mean, it's not your grade A coal, but it's clearly coal. Coal waste from a coal mine, which is now buried under soil slips and rock falls and so on.
And this is the stuff that we would have hoped out from the mine.
This is the waste. This is the unwanted spoil, as they call it.
You know, and the great thing about this is, Philip, I would not have known what this was. If you're walking along here, you see something like that, you think maybe it's been washed out.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little clue. I mean, there are little clues all the way along here, but they are small and they're not always obvious. But that's what that is, coal. Anybody can get access to. You don't have to be, the type of person with a rucksack and Edelweiss and your braces and a huge pair of boots and walk at, 7 miles per hour to enjoy this coastline.
Philip's opened my eyes to the past that's buried along this route. And as we end our walk together at Carrickmore, another landing stage for coal ships, I'm already thinking of my last spectacular walk.
Well, this is it. I'm on my own, and all I have to do is negotiate this gully and make my way on up to Fairhead.
It's also called Ben More, the Great Cliff, and that it is. I'm on one of several paths to the top, but take care, they're all steep and you need good boots to protect the ankles. The Skyline route past Loch Dhu is one of the finest wild walks on this island, and the chasm known as the Grey Man's Path is worth the trip all by itself.
From up here, Ballycastle's little more than a huddle of houses on the horizon, but everybody looks at Fairhead from back there, yet this is a totally different experience. Coming up here with only the sound of the waves and the sea breeze for company, what a way to travel.
When the legs move, so too does the mind. Walk the cliffs beside Rathlin Island and you'll follow in the footsteps of our ancestors. Their Stone Age monuments are marked on maps, but the free spirit of those early people lives on in every rambler. This is indeed a hauntingly beautiful place, steeped in history and mythology.
The marvellous thing about a walk is that you can just take time, stop and stare and take in the world around you. Loch Dhu here looks like a spoonful of sky on the cliff top, but you don't want to be here at twilight, because legend has it there's a devil horse lives in there and he pulls unsuspecting walkers right into the depths of the lake.
A walk into wilderness is the best prescription for body and soul. Maybe that's why I feel so at home outside, with room to breathe, room to think, and room to live.
There's a wee glimmer of light as the wind is picked up. And I'm reminded of that line from the great English poet William Blake, who said that great things are done when men and mountains meet. This is not done by jostling in the street.
Wandering alone, there's a chance to reflect on the journey, to soak in and appreciate the landscape. If you're already taking a good walk in the park or on a towpath at the weekend, then this is easily the next step. You really should give it a go, because out here there is always a fresh surprise just waiting around the corner.
I've reached the part of the journey that I've been really looking forward to, because this is a real hidden gem. And just feast your eyes on that. That's the spectacular bridge over the Grey Man's Path. Come on, let's go and have a look down it.
It's a tricky climb. The rocks are polished smooth by the feet and hands of rock climbers and ramblers spanning generations. It is manageable, but with care and concentration. Follow me by all means, but never walk here alone or unprepared. It can be dangerous. A wild, remote location exposed to every kind of weather.
This place gets its name from an ancient legend which says that when the sea mist rolls in from Rathlin Island, it takes human form, and the Grey Man strides his way through this chasm and walks the cliff top itself.
Visit this awesome place just once and you'll fall under a spell. Fairhead will rule your heart and call you back.
The North Antrim coast is justifiably our pride and joy, but it's even better whenever you can have a sea view all to yourself, far from the tourist trail.
If you've been inspired to pull on the walking boots and see it for yourself, check out the website. That's bbc.co.uk/blueprint. Click off the beaten track for route maps, safety advice and links to walking clubs in your area.
What a place to end the journey, and what a trip it's been. I wanted to take you off the beaten track to show you our landscape with fresh eyes. But the only way to truly experience it is to pull on the boots and hit the trail yourself. Maybe I'll see you out here. Bye.
Well, the TV series may have finished, but there's one last outing for Blueprint on BBC Radio Ulster, as we look back 10,000 years to when man first set foot on our island. Tune in for that Saturday morning at 11:30. And more information about everything featured in the series can be found on the website bbc.co.uk/blueprint.